I want to talk about some budgeting myths. I want to debunk them, and I want to help you bust some bad habits. Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip podcast presented by Fully Funded Life. My name is Joe Sengel. We're fired up to help you each and every week with some tips, some tricks, some aspirational perspective to help you advance in your journey to your fully funded life. Today, I want to talk about budgeting. I know it's not everybody's favorite topic, but we do enjoy the results from it. And today, I want to talk about some budgeting myths. I want to debunk them, and I want to help you bust some bad habits. Okay? So we're going to dive into this, and we'll see how far we can get in our 9 to 10 minutes of this episode. The first thing that I wanted to cover is just the fact that budgeting is hard. I hear this all the time. Budgeting is just hard. I've tried budgeting. It didn't work for me. I've tried budgeting and it worked for a couple months, and then we had something pop up and it didn't work. And so we just gave up on it. Budgeting is hard. I would tell you this. Budgeting in and of itself, the planning of your income and outgo, that is not difficult. What is difficult is living by that budget. And I think one of the reasons why many people would say budgeting is hard is not that the activity of planning their spending, planning their giving, saving, investing, and the rest of it, that is difficult. What they're really saying is their habits and practices, well, it's hard. It's so hard. And I've shared this in a few settings that I think one of the reasons why sticking to a budget is so difficult is because we have eyes and we can see stuff. I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, an ad's going to pop up, no doubt. And it's not always going to encourage you to do good behavior that moves you towards your fully funded life. There's a good chance that as you're listening to this podcast, you can look up and you can see 40 or 50 ads. Maybe you're driving down the road and you can see advertising signs and it's on the side of semi-trailers as they're going past you on the road. And then you see all of the different restaurants and all the stores and signs that are, flashing special sale, 25% off, half off, clearance. And you drive by new car lots. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you're with me, but sometimes those new trucks, they wink at you special and they want to be brought home like a puppy. And so the myth that budgeting is hard is not true. Budgeting in and of itself is not difficult. Of course, I would agree that living it is. And that's why we focus so much on the podcast and a lot of our resources, helping you put into place good practices to help you truly prosper. Now, when we think about other type of budgeting myths, one of the other myths that I hear all of the time when I travel is I just don't make enough money. I just don't make enough money. Why should I budget? I don't make enough money. Well, I would just say a few things in response to that. I don't know your individual situation. If you're making $0, I would tell you that is not a myth, then you are not making enough money. But for the vast majority, 95% of people can budget and can begin to prosper simply by preparing that budget and enacting practices, healthy habits, if you will, to be able to follow that budget. But the reason many people say I don't make enough money is because they want more money and they've not been able to dial back. As my co-host sometimes says, Megan, they haven't been able to dial back their wanter, that they want something, they buy it, and then they forget that those dollars were actually needed to be used for something important later that month, and now they're in the ditch. And many people say, I don't make enough money, and it's a myth. So what I would say, if you have repeated that statement, I don't make enough money, is I would encourage you to look at your habits, to review your spending for the last couple of months. Look at your credit card swipes, look at your bank debit card swipes, look at your bank account for checks you've written if you're still writing checks, and find out where all of your money has been going and ask yourself the question, was that a really good use of those dollars? And a better question, was that in my budget at the start of the month? Because many times things sneak in and we don't even really comprehend how powerful it is working against us being able to prosper with a budget. When you swing past the restaurant and grab lunch at Chipotle, I mean, Chipotle used to be somewhat reasonable, but now it's $13. It's up to $18. You do that 10 times a month. That's like $130, $180. And I don't have anything against Chipotle if it's in your budget. But if you've budgeted $50 for dining out at restaurants this month, well, it's very quick, 3 or 4 visits, and you've exceeded that. And if you do not have that good habit of requiring yourself to use cash envelopes, of putting away the debit card and the credit card and not allowing yourself to use them for things that are not strictly denoted in the budget, then you will say, I don't make enough money. And you will believe it as if it is truth, but it is a myth. And so I encourage you, I know you want to make more money, and there's lots of ways to make more money, and we'll share that in some other episodes. I'll rattle off a couple real quick. Check out salary.com. Find out what people with your skill set and experience are making in your area. Maybe you deserve and merit a raise. Can you get a certification that would allow you to produce more income? Do you need to go back and get additional education? But you've got to change the situation, or the situation will never change. And so saying I don't make enough money, here's what I know. I've said it before, guilty, but here's what I know. The day I stopped belly aching, and that's the word I'm going to use for myself. I'm not saying you did that. I'm just saying that was what I used for myself. When I stopped belly aching about saying I need to make more money and got serious about managing what I did have well, things transformed in that moment. And I will tell you, that was way back in December of 2002. And I got really serious about a written budget in July of 2003, about 7 months later. And I will tell you, because I did that back then with that level of income, I've been able to prosper with half of that income, because I went to work for a church for 3.5 years. I've been able to prosper with more income and everything in between. And I will tell you, having a budget and not using the excuse that I don't make enough money, and instead saying, this is what I have, Lord, help me be a great manager of it, that has been a great, great help to me. Another budgeting myth I hear a lot, and that's for all of you service workers and gig economies, and that is, I can't budget. My income is unpredictable. I don't know how much I'm going to make each month. Well, I would tell you, you can budget, and you need a budget more than anybody. In fact, I want you to think about how much money you need to make your household run in a given month. Let's say you do the math and it comes out to be $4,000. Your number will be different, but let's say to run your whole household, it'll take $4,000. You need to view your unpredictable income job source, whether that is a hairstylist, a restaurant server, a salesman, someone who has that up and down seasonal, cyclical, or irregular income. And you need to set a goal that by the time you enter into the down period, the down cycle of your business, right? January is when a lot of hairstylists and restaurant servers wonder where everybody went. Why? Because all the people spent all their money over November and December, and they gave a bunch of it to you. Well, right as you enter that period, if you're a lawn mowing company and it's wintertime, right as you go into wintertime, I want to encourage you to have at least 3 months worth of that monthly need in your business account. So that would be $12,000. And here's how it works. You pull $4,000 a month out of that account. Now, if you make $1,000 in January, do you get to pull $4,000? Yes. And your $12,000, if you've built that up, will go to $9,000. But your household gets to live on $4,000. So you've got a salary. In February, it starts to pick up a little bit, but it's a little shorter month. You get $2,500 in income. Well, you can pull $1,500 from your remaining $99,000. That takes you to $7,500. Your household still gets $4,000. The next month, it breaks even. Your business, your work produced 4,000 and you get 4,000. So it stays at 7,500. And here's the trick, the good habit. In the month when you have excess, the abundance, the sun is shining, and you have 6,000 come in, do you bring 6,000 home? No, you put 2,000 back in. So your 7,500 goes to 9,500 and your household has a salary of 4,000 every month. I talk more about that in chapter 8 of my book, I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. And we have additional bonus things on YouTube where we produced ways to prosper with seasonal, cyclical, or irregular income. Hey, what are the budgeting myths you would like to see us counter and talk about and discuss in the podcast? Leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you. And hey, until next week, have a fully funded life and do one thing this week to take your level of finances, your knowledge to the next level. We'll see you next week. Hey everybody, Joe Sangl here. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hey, I encourage you to click the links that are provided to watch a lot of more helpful content that'll help you live your fully funded life. Thanks for being a part of our community.